Fans could feel the tension crackle on court. Felipe Chatria's Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka delivered one of this season's most electric finals. Gauff's comeback run was more than just a surprise. It was a statement that shook up women's tennis and raised big questions about Sabalenka's future at the top. Sabalenka, so recently ranked No. 1, watched her momentum slip away in a flurry of unforced errors and emotional press conference moments. While Gauff rose above the pressure with calm and fight you don't often see at her age, this much will be talked about for years, not only for the result, but for how the spotlight shifted, perhaps for good. Sabalenka's journey, a reign threatened. The last few years in women's tennis have been shaped by Aryna Sabalenka's thunderous rise to the top. Her explosive power, relentless aggression, and mental toughness made her one of the most feared players on tour, but even the strongest champions can find their dominance questioned. And Sabalenka now faces perhaps the biggest threat to her reign since she broke into the Worlds. Late, before the dust settled on her dramatic loss to Coco Gauff in Paris, let's revisit what made Sabalenka's stretch at the top so formidable and why this French Open defeat is stirring up urgent debate. Peak performance and career highlights. Aryna Sabalenka didn't just arrive at the top of women's tennis, she stamped her name into WTA history with force. By June 2025, her trophy case featured 3 Grand Slam singles titles: 2023 Australian Open champion, 2024 Australian Open champion, 2024 US Open champion. Surging through tournaments, Sabalenka racked up 20 WTA singles titles and 6 in doubles. Few players in recent memory have matched her consistency across surfaces. She reached at least the quarterfinals in 10 consecutive Grand Slams from 2022 to 2024. Turning her name into a fixture on championship weekends, Sabalenka's playing style is easy to spot. She is all about high-velocity serves, punishing ground strokes, and taking charge of points from the first shot. Her aggressive mindset translates to both frequent winners and a fair share of unforced errors. But when her game clicks, opponents often find themselves pushed off the court by sheer force. Her weaponry goes beyond her right arm. With a serve clocked at over 200 km per hour, she stands as one of the game's best in aces, tallying over 400 in 2023 alone. Sabalenka's mental steel also became an asset, especially after heartbreaking early losses gave way to her Grand Slam breakthrough and rise to World No. 1 not just once, but on multiple occasions off the court. Sabalenka earned respect for her grit, navigating personal tragedies, team changes, and relentless media attention without letting her focus waver. Her leadership and undeniable energy boosted her country's Fed Cup team, and her battles with top stars like Iga Swiatek gave fans plenty of showdowns to savor. In summary, Sabalenka looked like the player no one wanted to meet in a big match or dethroned from the top ranking. Cracks in the armor. 2025 French Open semifinal loss. All that invincibility came under fire at the 2025 French Open. Sabalenka, who arrived in Paris as World No. 1 and a heavy favorite, stormed through earlier rounds before running into Coco Gauff in the semifinal, a matchup that would spark one of the year's loudest tennis diva. This was no routine match. Sabalenka edged the opening set in a tense tiebreak, only to see her game unravel as the pressure grew. She finished with 70 unforced errors against Gauff's 30. Her usually reliable serve giving way to 9 breaks under swirling winds and drizzle. By the end, Sabalenka's 37 winners were lost in the avalanche of mistakes and missed opportunities. What stood out most wasn't just the tennis. Fans and experts zeroed in on Sabalenka's body language, visible frustration, tense exchanges with her box, and an emotional post-match press conference. She called her own play terrible, vented about the conditions, and even suggested that had the draw been different, the outcome might not have been. Across social media and sports talk shows, reaction was swift. Supporters voiced sympathy for Sabalenka's struggles under tough weather and immense pressure, while critics called out her lack of composure and failure to credit Gauff's stealing nerve in the US. Gauff's win was celebrated not just as an athletic feat, but as a cultural milestone. Meanwhile, tennis insiders wondered if this loss marked the beginning of a power shift, or simply a rare stumble for a generational athlete. For Sabalenka, the 2025 French Open was more than a defeat. It was the first moment the tennis world saw real cracks in the armor she had built over years of dominance, forcing a new evaluation of who rules the women's game heading into the next Grand Slam. This single match may shape how history remembers Sabalenka's reign at the top. Gauff single meteoric rise, and the big stage. No one in tennis today pulls focus quite like Coco Gauff. In just a few years, Gauff has rewritten expectations for teenagers in pro sports, toppling giants and standing tall under the kind of pressure that usually builds legends over decades. A recent string of victories, especially on tennis's biggest stages, signals not only the start of a new era but positions her as the face of Gen Z athleticism, fearless, fun, and fiercely original. Defining victories and career milestones showcase Gauff's Grand Slam triumphs, especially over Sabalenka, and her impact as a Gen Z tennis icon. Coco Gauff wasted no time making her presence felt. Bursting onto the scene at just 15, she shocked the world by beating Venus Williams at Wimbledon, a moment many still call the true passing of the torch in American tennis. But it was her recent Grand Slam conquests that cemented her superstar status to 2023 US Open champion. At 19, Gauff powered through a deep field and snatched her first major title from none other than Aryna Sabalenka. This final, crackling with drama and nerves, turned into a three-set classic. With this win, she became the youngest American woman to earn a slam since Serena Williams. 20-5 French Open champion. 2 years later, Gauff took down Sabalenka on the clay at Roland Garros. The gritty comeback after losing a nail-biting first set marked her second Grand Slam. She made history as the first American woman to lift the French Open trophy since Serena in 2015. These wins were more than stats for the record books. Gauff broke through the so-called Big Three wall and signaled the new wave of champions. Each time, she did it with her signature blend of speed, smarts, and swagger. Her style radiates youth and innovation, quick footwork, stinging forehands, and a willingness to attack or defend on any point keep fans guessing. Unlike many before her, Gauff mixes intense focus with light-hearted charm, dancing and grinning on changeovers or sharing real talk with her millions of followers. She's one of the few who can trend on TikTok the same day she clinches a Grand Slam title. Gen Z role model. Gauff's social media presence is huge, but it never overshadows her work ethic. She often shares candid lessons about setbacks, doubt, and growth, offering young fans someone real and really good to root for. Shifter of expectations with every win. Gauff's rise changes what's possible for pro athletes her age. She proves you don't have to be a robot to win big. You can be yourself. For a generation searching for athletes who care about more than just hardware, Gauff checks every box. Winner, leader, and influencer on and off the court. Strength under pressure. How Gauff handles the spotlight. How does a 21-year-old shoulder the spotlight without flinching? For Gauff, it comes down to one word: mindset. Fans have seen her dig out of holes, silence roaring stadiums, and come back when all seemed lost. Her way of handling high-stakes moments sets her apart from almost everyone in the sport. Mental immensity. Gauff's calm resilience was never clearer than at this year's French Open. Down a set to Sabalenka, she stayed relaxed, focused on each point. and refused to panic when things got tight or loud. Key quotes. After her latest win, she told reporters, "Pressure is a privilege. I love being in these moments, even when they feel heavy." That attitude resonates. Another powerful admission. The impact you leave on people means more than just tennis or trophies. Her blend of vulnerability and confidence captures hearts. The numbers back up her mental strength. In both her US Open and French Open wins, Gauff had to claw back from deficits against bigger, more experienced champions. She broke serve in clutch moments. She fought through tough conditions, whether it was swirling wind in Paris or late-night nerves in New York. To understand how she wins fans over, consider moments like these. Recovery from adversity. Gauff has spoken openly about using criticism as fuel, turning doubters' words into on-court focus, adaptive play. Over the past season, she's changed up her serve and forehand, always seeking better consistency and power. This commitment to evolve even after big win shows maturity, far beyond her age. Engagement with fans. She connects through authenticity, whether it's sending messages to little girls watching at home or sharing her love of dance. Gauff brings fans with her on every step of her journey. It's not just about playing for history, it's about playing with heart. Gauff embodies the best of what fans crave. Someone who's as tough in a tiebreak as she is relatable after the match. She's become the player everyone wants to see under the brightest lights. Knowing the show will be equal parts grit, grace, and a whole lot of Gen Z brilliance. What this power shift means for women's tennis. Women's tennis thrives whenever the best players bring fresh energy, fierce competition, and stories that fans care about. With Coco Gauff knocking Aryna Sabalenka from the top spot, the tour is experiencing a pulse that's hard to ignore. This shake-up in power does more than just move trophies round. It lights up the sport with new rivalries, stirs fan debates, and sets up a future that looks anything but predictable. Changing of the guard, new rivalries and stories. The rise of Gauff and the sudden vulnerability of Sabalenka have injected new urgency into women. Tennis, the old guard players like Iga Swiatek and Sabalenka now faces a growing list of young threats. Every match feels like it could flip the script, and that unpredictability draws more eyes to the court and screens. Rivalries are the engine of excitement. When fans get Sabalenka versus Gauff, or even Gauff against Swiatek or Elena Rybakina, sparks fly. These matchups, whether in a slugfest on clay or a tactical chess match on grass, set the tone for the entire season. The WTA has lacked this kind of headline rivalry in recent years, and now fresh pairings promise stories as big as the Serena Venus or Graf Celeste days. Younger stars bring a new vibe. Players like Mira Andreeva and Eva Jovic, both just 17 but already making deep runs in Grand Slams, are changing what fans expect from teenagers. Their playing styles clash with veterans, and their ability to tune out pressure shows that the tour isn't just a proving ground, it's a stage for them. Bold. Social media eruptions and stadium buzz. Each big result, upset or comeback, generates instant conversation. The debate over Sabalenka's meltdown or Gauff's ice-cold nerves reaches millions in real time. Hashtags trend. Highlight reels pop up on every platform. And seats fill up faster when these names appear on the draw. Other stars are just there. Games, players like Zhang Qianwen and Elena Rybakina aren't waiting in the wings. They're retooling with new coaches and smarter game plans to crack the Gauff-Sabalenka lock-on finals. The entire top 10 seems hungrier and more vocal, each determined to grab a piece of the spotlight, which ramps up pressure and performance. This shift isn't just about one ranking. It's about building up a cast of stars, each with their own narrative, and giving fans a reason to cheer, argue, and tune in for every round. The future of Sabalenka and Gauff. Looking ahead, the Sabalenka-Gauff saga is far from over. If anything, Their tug-of-war makes every upcoming tournament more meaningful. Both players are loaded with motivation, and the draw sheets for Wimbledon and beyond now read like battlegrounds. Rematches are coming fast. The 2025 grass season is set for high tension. Sabalenka and Gauff are both ramping up for Berlin and Wimbledon. Gauff's speed and patience on defense give her the edge on slow surfaces. But Sabalenka's attacking style is built for the speed of grass. Their head-to-head is locked at 5-5. Each win ratcheting up fan intensity. Sabalenka's comeback potential. Expect Sabalenka to double down on mental training and strategy. After a big loss, she's known to bounce back even stronger, making tweaks to her power game and focusing on consistency. A revenge win at Wimbledon or the US Open could flip the narrative all over again. Gauff's next steps. Gauff isn't the type to rest on what she's won. She brings a learning mindset to every match, working with coaches to boost her serve and flatten out her forehand for faster surfaces, with her confidence high. She's more likely than ever to go deep at every slam. Each victory racks up more pressure. But if history is any guide, Gauff seems to thrive when the stakes are largest. Here are a few things fans should watch for in the next season. Matchups with new challengers, young talents like Andreeva and Zhang are itching for a signature wins. Every Gauff or Sabalenka match against these rising stars could be the birth of another must-watch rivalry. Fan engagement. Stadiums should be packed. Social feeds will be buzzing. And debates over who's really one will keep rolling. After every tournament. Tactical evolution. Don't be surprised to see both Gauff and Sabalenka try new tactics. More net play, riskier second serves, or smarter returns designed to break up the momentum of their toughest rivals. The competition at the top of women's tennis is suddenly wide open. Gauff's charge has forced the tour to reimagine what dominance looks like, while Sabalenka's response will be watched as closely as any title defense this year for fans and players. This is the kind of storyline that turns every match into must-see drama. Coco Gauff's rise is a shot of pure energy for women's tennis. Her bold style and cool composure keep every match alive with high stakes and a sense that anything can happen. Fans get a thrill watching her chase down shots and swing the momentum, proving she's more than ready to carry the spotlight. Aryna Sabalenka's backers have every reason to stay hopeful. The path to know one is never smooth, and a fighting spirit. Big match nerves and record of bouncing back promise fresh drama at every Grand Slam. The Gauff-Sabalenka rivalry brings out the best in both athletes and keeps the tour unpredictable and exciting. Thank you for joining this deep dive into one of tennis's most fascinating rivalries. Share your thoughts below about what you hope to see next, and stay tuned as this story keeps growing.